Aloha and shalom. We are here for the full moon activation. It's super quiet right now in my house. Super quiet. It's feeling good. Let's get you set up here. All right. Make sure you're comfortable. Have your water, whatever you need to be comfortable, relaxed, present for this full moon activation. So the full moon, one moment. The full moon is all about the fullness of the picture, right? Everything coming into the light, everything being made super clear, everything that we've been going through for the past few weeks coming to the light. I'm just getting comfortable. I'm taking off my slippers. I find temperature is such a key ingredient to setting the space. Like if I'm too hot or if I'm too cold, I can't do what I need to do. I can't be present. I can't channel. I can't be fluid. So I gotta be comfy. So again, the full moon is all about the full picture becoming clear. So what's been going on these last few weeks? What has actually been going on? And while you're tuning in, let me know in the comments where you're tuning in from. Where in the world are you? The moon is full. I'm feeling inspired and ready. Feel free to share this video now while we're live with family, friends. Maybe you have a favorite group here on Facebook. The reading will be posted as usual to Instagram and YouTube, Rebecca Magic, when we're done here. So if you want to share it with someone who's not in Facebook land, then you can do it at the end when it goes to those places. But maybe you know someone who's really going through it and could use a message right now, something to help them get grounded, get clear, feel some relief, some meaning, some purpose to what they're going through. That's what these readings provide. We have Canada in the house. Where in the world are you? Let us know in the comments. Ooh, there it is. All right. We're going to first start with the tarot deck as usual. So we're just giving thanks in advance for this message that's about to come through. We got West Virginia in the house. We have Wisconsin in the house. We have Michigan in the house. Where in the world are you? Let us know in the comments. Thank you, thank you, thank you for this map, this guidance that's about to come through. Like feeling you guys all tuning in. I'm feeling the energy. I'm feeling connected. I'm feeling ready to do this together. Okay. Beginning with the current focus, the challenge and gift. What are we stepping away from? And what's something we're stepping into? And remember, this is not fortune telling. This is not predicting the future, okay? When we look into the future or what's coming, really what we're doing is seeing what is the next part of the cycle that's coming, because we can rely on that. That's something that's reliable. That's something that's certain. As far as the details that unfold in reflection of that, they are not yet written. We're writing them right now, each moment, with every choice we make in thought, speech, and action. So that's why these readings are different. I'm not your typical tarot reader. We don't predict the future. We do know the cycles, though, that are eternal, eternally reliable, and we can lean on that, and we can use that to shape our choices, to make the best choices, not only for ourselves, but for the one. Shabbat shalom to you too, Michelle. Shabbat shalom to everyone. So we have the focus. We have what we're launching from, right? We have the past that brought us to this moment, and we have where we're headed. Now with the Hebrew deck, we're going to pull the ally of the week. And remember, they're all our allies and we are their allies. But when we pick one, it's a way to have a starting point, an access point into the rest of the story. It gives us a primary focus. Otherwise, we'd be all over the place, right? We're living in this world of separation, of multiplicity. And that's why we can pick very specific cards as an access point into the story. However, we know they're all always present. We still need an access point into the story. We need a way to make sense of it all. Okay. So beginning with the focus, the challenge, and gift. Three of Swords. Okay, right away I feel a lot coming in about this card, about this archetype. Three of Swords. Now, Swords is a suit of challenges. And if you know me, know my style, or if you've read my books, I talk about swords actually being the suit of earth in the material realm, where you don't usually see that in modern tarot. You'll see it as the suit of the mind and air. Okay, but I'm going to tell you a little bit. If you want to know more, you'll obviously have to read my book or ask me to go deeper. But I'm going to share with you right now that it's important we look at swords, which are challenges, from the earthly perspective, because when we do that, we right off the bat consider that this is a temporary experience, because all things earthly and material are temporary. And when we look at it through those eyes, we can immediately come from a place of detachment, and we don't have that victimization, that background thought of, oh my God, maybe this will be forever. No, we immediately know, cool, this is temporary. I can relax. I can remember the temporary nature of this challenge, and remember what's more is remember that all challenges, including this one, are for my growth. Cool. Okay, so I'm off to a good start in this contemplation process. So with that said, Three of Swords is all about a very particular challenge. It's about a challenge of the heart. It's about the consequences of heartache, of heartbreak, of emotional pain, feelings of suffering, which ultimately come in the form of thought, right? Because even if we do whatever we can that is obvious to heal that heartache, move on, get a new job, get a new relationship, move beyond the pain in a material way, in this material world, we still have thoughts or even energetic residue, right? Like in our cellular being, that keeps us held to those experiences, that keeps us trapped. We form thought programs based on that pain. And so immediately when this came up, what I saw is that this is the focus right now, because we're on track to stepping into a new world right now. And we feel so good and we feel ready to go, ready to go, ready to go. But if we move too quickly, we'll miss those opportunities to clear up those small underlying subconscious programs, subconscious thoughts that could otherwise be transformed into gold for this future that we're stepping into, right? It's like we could, of course, just move forward and not look at that. Or we could take the opportunity to dive deep, to find where we may have missed the opportunity to transform old programs of thought that were built upon pain. Because all that can instead be used as material for our betterment. So it's like, where can we do better? Where can we dig deeper? Right now, we're being asked to look at where can you transform your personal experience to maximize your potential as you step into this new future of more love, of more light, because that's always the goal. That's always the desired trajectory. More love, more light on earth as it is in heaven. So something that comes in really specifically is that we've got to look at where we are being mean, where we are being cold, where we are being sharp, where can we bring more warmth? Where can we bring more kindness? And not just push ourselves to do it, but to bring meaning to that process, to make it intimate, to make it personal. Meaning to really look at, where am I mean? Where am I cold? Where am I sharp? Where am I short? Where do I have impatience? And then, instead of just saying, well, let me do the opposite, asking why. Why am I being mean here? Why am I being cold here? Why do I have less patience here with this person or in this situation, but I have more patience with that person or that situation? How can I learn from this? How can I learn more about myself? Because that's what we're here to do, is learn more about ourselves so that we can realize self, so that we can transform self and actualize true self. So allow your process, right? When you look at your thoughts, look at the words that you're speaking, look at your actions that you're taking, you look at where you're not exhibiting the most virtue, where I'm not being patient, where I'm not being kind and warm and loving and forgiving. And then look at why. And you may find that, oh, you know what? I think I cultivated impatience through this past experience, this thing that happened to me last week or last year or a few years ago. Oh, perhaps I'm acting shortly or coldly because I'm still grieving such and such an experience that happened. Okay, cool. That's honest. Okay, cool. I got you, me. How can I heal that now? I've got to really tell myself that we're ready to move forward. I've got to tell myself, hey, we're ready to move on. We're ready to heal this. And it's okay to be kind, and you're safe to be more patient. And I can tell you why, because the truth says, the law eternal says, that if I'm virtuous, if I embody the light of the virtues, I am infinitely protected. My innocence is my armor. It's okay to be vulnerable. In fact, when I am. And when I embody patience, even when my ego tells me not to, when I embody kindness, softness, love, compassion, when my ego tells me not to, I am succeeding by law. So it's not just okay, it's actually everything we came here to be and do. And you can tell yourself, hey, yeah, we were hurt through this experience. Yeah, we're sad about this. We're suffering because of this. And yes, I remember I'm here to use that suffering to be an alchemist and transform my pain into passion, my pain into power, my grief into love. Oh yeah, that's why all that happened. And it's all impermanent. All the details of all those situations that brought me this pain are temporary. Because love is the only thing that's everlasting. Light is the only thing that's everlasting. So how can I look at where my expression is one of pain, whether that's thought, speech, or action? And how can I recognize that, wake up to that, and then use it as the alchemist that I am and turn that pain into power? The good kind for the one. The good kind of power that serves the one. So pay attention. Where am I expressing myself? First within, right, in thought, and then speech and action. How am I expressing myself in a way that shows I'm still acting from my pain body, from a place of pain? And then from there, how can I identify where that pain may have started? And if you can't, that's okay. Don't kill yourself over it, right? How can I identify where that pain came from? And then ultimately, how can I come back into the remembrance that I'm here to turn pain into power in service of the one? And we're coming from the 5 of Pentacles. And Pentacles is the suit of manifestation, creativity, thoughts to things, mind to matter. And 5 is a place of really struggling, being stuck, being in the middle, being on the fence. Am I going to make it through or not? Okay, so we're just coming out of that space. We've got to acknowledge we are moving forward. And the only thing that's in our way is ourselves. And it's only a matter of time before we recognize and reawaken to our power. So is the ancient pattern of awakening and falling asleep again and again, right? So we accept the inevitability of our reawakening. So that's the first step. Like, okay, might as well just accept it's going to happen. And time isn't real, so why not just initiate that right now and stop messing around? So we're finally going to be over the hump. We're finally going to be coming off of this fence, accepting the inevitability of our uprising. Okay, so we can know that now. We don't have to be asking, how much longer is this going to go on? When can I come out of this? You're out. It's a choice. It's up to you. And this is how you'll make it through. Okay, so this was the past. We're moving away from this now. Fives are always right in the middle, right? Because you have the suits, you have from the ace to the 10. The 5 is right in the middle. It's that hump, that middle point. We're about to be on the other side. So we're moving beyond this now. And this is how we're going to make it through. This is the bridge. This is the focus. If you can look at where you're still behaving from pain and suffering and grief, where if you can identify the thought programs that are running that you yourself, because you have the power that you yourself have built from that pain, then you can let it go and stop carrying with it, and you can truly heal. And that's the amazing thing, is it's in your hands. It's up to you. You got the power. Dun, 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 dun. You have the power. And where we're moving toward, I love it. There's a 6. Wow, there's a 6. And this also came up in the last activation. And this also came up a lot this week in one-on-one readings. I'm pretty sure it came up in the last activation, unless that was a personal reading I did, because I did many readings this week. But regardless, this archetype is present right now, and it's all about innocence and love and pure and joy, exchanging that purity and joy, which ultimately brings the balance of polarities and the balance to all things. When we live in true joy, bliss, innocence, purity, we restore the balance to all things, first within and then without. So again, we have the 5 in the past. We're moving beyond it. And I literally just said before we pulled this card, we're moving from the 5 to the 6. We're moving beyond it. We're getting over the hump. And then look what's in the future, a 6. A 6. Okay? And we have 3 different suits here. We have Pentacles, Swords, and Cups now. And Cups is all about the heart and the emotions. See, the cup is like the holy grail, right? The chalice of the heart. And 6 is like a 3 and a 3, right? And a 3 is a trinity. It's a whole, right? The 3 make up the 1 and the 3 make up the 1. So it's a 3 and the 3, and then together the number 6 is like a complete soul, right? And the 7 is like then the ascension of that soul, right? This is a little numerology for you. So any of the 6s kind of represent these 2 forces, these 2 complete forces coming together in some sort of a balance or pursuit of balance and harmony. Okay, so 6 of Cups, you can see there's a little boy and a little girl exchanging the cup with the flower inside, and the white flower you'll see a lot in the tarot and in esoteric or occult art. And the white flower represents innocence and purity, and they're exchanging that. And to unlock the deepest messages within each of these archetypes or cards, you want to consider that all of these symbols are you. It's all one. So first you want to go straight there. Go straight there. Don't think, oh, who is that and who is this in my life? Well, it's all you, boo, because there's only one. Come on now. You know that. We might forget it sometimes, but that's okay. That's part of the experience, right? But when we're doing these readings, we've got to remember, because when we can view these archetypes from that oneness perspective, from that place of oneness consciousness, only then can we unlock those deepest doors that hold the deepest answers to the true questions our souls are actually asking. Not just like, you know, is my boyfriend gonna leave me? No, we're not. We're here for way bigger things, okay? So going back to that oneness perspective, when we view this card from there, we see that, oh, this is me. These are my polarities. And I've got to remember that the goal is to harmonize those polarities within me so I can see that unification in the world around me. So I can experience that harmony and bliss with all of my relations, in all of my endeavors. Okay, so a big motivation for doing this work right now is knowing that just on the other side of this work is that purity of exchange, is that true loving exchange, not only with others, but that being a result of that loving exchange within yourself, self-love, cooperation between the different parts of you, whole and holy integration of the different parts of self. And when you look at it on a collective scale, that's all that's really happening here. We're working to harmonize all the parts of the one self. So how can you, as the microcosm of that macrocosm, you as a reflection of that larger self, initiate and preserve, protect, celebrate that harmony within yourself as a whole? You are that, right? One of the main archetypes of the deck, which means one of your main archetypes or faces, is the Emperor, aka the Sovereign. And that's the part of you that is here to protect and preserve and provide for truth, unity, love, light. Those are all synonyms for the same one thing. You are the protector and provider for that. Right? So how can you put that hat back on, your emperor's hat, the hat of the sovereign, your crown, whatever you want to call it? And remember that you are the protector of that unity, that love, that light. It's so sacred. It's within you. Okay, another archetype that we all have is the High Priestess. It's the card number 2 of the entire deck. That's the gatekeeper, the one that holds the space for the two within, right? The mother and father in the heart, or the masculine and feminine polarity, or the positive and negative, active and receptive polarities. You are the keeper of that. So how can you remember those roles and assume them? Take accountability, take responsibility, and find joy in the process. It's exciting. And when you remember those roles, right? The emperor, the sovereign, the priestess, and then all of the other major archetypes that make up who you are, the suggestion, the invitation is that you sit with yourself, right? Imagine a round circle, a ceremonial circle where all the parts are sitting there. And you separate each of those parts of yourself and you turn them to face one another, knowing that you are the voice of this grand committee. And you allow each of your major archetypes, each one of them, a fair amount of time, which in their realm time doesn't really exist. So what I mean is you offer them the space, all this time and space that they need to share what they need to share. So that by the time you get around the entire circle, you have a whole integrated, united, harmonious, synergistic concept to then be the voice for, idea to then speak on. You are the voice for that unified, integrated, whole and holy perspective. So when you remember that, you can kind of pull yourself out of this victimization. You can pull yourself out of this place of pain. You're already there anyway. We already have been feeling, we've already been feeling that we're coming out of that. So again, lean on your allies, those major arcanum archetypes, right? Those major parts of yourself. Lean on them. And be their voice so that they can lean on you. This is the Archetypal Alliance. You are the Archetypal Alliance. Lean on them and be their voice. so that we can come out of this, take responsibility, together identify and heal the pain that we've been moving from, thinking from, speaking from, acting from. Be excited about the transformation of all of it, because it's all temporary anyway. We remember it's all turning lead to gold. So together as the Alliance, we do this work so that we can come back to this place of balance, of sharing from a place of joy and healing and wholeness rather than that place of pain. Because wow, when we do that, when we each do that, and then we begin to do that together as one collective, that's literally heaven on earth. That's literally embodying and actualizing the light of heaven on earth. That's why we are here, to exchange love, kindness, compassion, first within, between the different parts of the self, so that we can harmonize them so they become whole. And then we do that with one another. And another way to look at this, it's very, very deep, okay? Those different archetypes within you, those different voices within you that you're trying to have harmony with, a peaceful synergy with, they each represent a different, have you ever heard of the music of the spheres? Look it up, music of the spheres, okay? Compassion is a song, and each of these archetypes are like a different piece of compassion, right? Compassion is the all virtuous light, but then it breaks up into the different virtues, and each of these archetypes is connected to a different virtue. So when you give them each your awareness, your attention, your presence, and then when you give it a voice, you become the instrument for that virtue. What happens is you begin to become familiar with all of the archetypes, with all of the virtues. They start to work together. And each of those pieces of light comes together to form that greater light of compassion. Going even deeper back to the music of the spheres, each of these archetypes has a different key note that as you begin to play that note as the instrument of that light, each of the notes come together to sing a song through you, again, as their instrument, right? Who's the saint that said, God, make me an instrument of thy peace, right? This is what they be talking about, right? So you begin to become familiar with each of those key notes. You begin to become a vessel for them, and they start to harmonize, and together in unison, they become that song of compassion. But we can't just go straight to that song of compassion. It's a process, right? Because we're in this world of density, of material reality, where we need a process, which is the alchemical process, which is what the tarot represents. We need a sequence, a way, steps to get there. And this is how. We don't just go straight to, I'm all of the archetypes in one. We have to get to know each of them individually, give them each our loving presence, like a child, right? Like a child, I hear you, I see you, I'm giving you my full attention, because if I try to give everybody my attention all at once, we don't live in that realm. So we need to give each of the pieces of self our attention. Every day, every moment, taking every opportunity to be attentive to those parts of self and take action upon their desires, their needs, which looks like acts of virtue, acts of kindness, ultimately, right? Because each one of them represents a virtue. So again, we give each of them a voice, and ultimately they become a unified voice, which then speaks as the voice of compassion, or acts as the light of compassion. So that's where we're heading. Okay? And the ally is the Gimel. It's the Gimel. And it kind of looks like a shoe, or like a hoof, or like a high heel. And Gimel comes right before the Dalet, which is a door, which represents opportunity. So you can see the Gimel as like running toward the door of opportunity. Another thing is the Gimel is connected to the idea of charity and giving. So obviously, like we just said, when you do acts of kindness, when you are compassionate, when you're giving, you open the door to opportunity. Loving kindness goes together with the light of wisdom. As you perform acts of loving kindness, as you embody and actualize compassion, you open yourself up to that in reflection from the universe. When you give, you get, right? Right? So as you give, And as you are compassionate, you are donating your time, your love, your light. That comes back to you immediately, because who are you giving it to but yourself? There's only one. Right? The Gimel is also connected to, because it's the third letter of the alphabet, it's connected to Arcanum 3, the Empress. And she is the part of us that is abundant and blessed and a child of the earth and the stars, fully embodying her birthright of abundance in this place. Right? In the card, in the art, you usually see wheat at her feet. You see waterfalls and trees, and she's lounging, and she's usually pregnant, which is denoting abundance and fertility, health, vitality. And 3 is a number of action, right? So she's not just a feminine card, she's also a masculine card. We all have the Empress within us. And so let that remind you of all that you really are and all that you have to give. All that you are receiving is coming from an infinite source. Therefore, if you open to that source, and that's the place you are pulling from to give, it's moving through you. It's not yours anyway to begin with. It's yours, ours, the ones. And so you can give then infinitely. So this is a super helpful ally in this scenario with these cards, because it reminds us to stop victimizing ourselves. We absolutely have everything we need. We're connected to an infinite source of abundance, so we can move forward feeling good, feeling full of strength and vitality and resources to get through this work, so that we can move on to this place of exchanging all that goodness between the different parts of ourselves, right? Because when we feel we're lacking, or we victimize ourselves, or we're still in pain, we're not really connected to that Empress, right? Because if we were, she would remind us, hey, share, give your energy to all the different parts of yourself within. Your intuition doesn't have to take away from your logic, and your logic doesn't have to take away from your intuition, and your inner high priestess doesn't have to take away from your hierophant, and, your hermit doesn't have to take away from your, your Lover's card, for example, right? You'll be able to, from that Empress place, know that there's an abundance of everything to go around for everyone. And then you can relax, and you can start to give equally to all parts of yourself. And that will manifest in your outer reality and in our shared world. So the Empress kind of reminds us, oh yeah, we all have the archetype within us. Let us activate that and move away from this painful process. Heal that, seal those holes, so that we can move from a place of a whole and overflowing heart. And when we each do this, then we begin to exchange from that place. And that's when it gets really good. That's when it really starts to feel like and look like heaven on earth. Okay, so again, the Gimel is all about giving, and it's all about the Empress, remembering that we are getting from an infinite source. So we can certainly give infinitely. All that's real is the light, that source that we're infinitely pulling from and that we're infinitely giving from is eternal light. And when you remember that that light is the all-virtuous compassion, then you can really grasp that concept, because we can relate in that way. We can relate to the virtues as humans. That's why these tarot cards are these like characters that we can relate to, and they're physical representations or symbols of the virtues. It gives us a way to connect. Right? So again, that all virtuous light is the source, and we can relate through the virtues. And so we can say, oh, well, I'm going to receive that love, that compassion from that source through all of that source's creations. And through knowing, understanding what that light is, the virtues, compassion, then through understanding, because everything is the mind, right? Through understanding, I can truly open myself up in a meaningful and practical way to that compassion, as I begin to identify it within all, right? Because when you learn a new word, you start to hear it everywhere, right? Same concept. The more you understand what that light is, you understand it as virtuous light, you understand it as compassion, you can then, only then, open up to that compassion. Open your heart up to receive that love. and become a conduit for it as well at the same time. Because when you know you're one with that love, and you're one with all things are made of that love, then you can simultaneously open to it and give it. You just become a vessel, a transmitter. You receive and you give from that infinite space. Okay, so again, this process becomes a lot easier, stepping away from the pain, doing the work to heal that stuff, and moving toward that true feeling of heaven on earth, right? First within yourself and then all around. That all becomes easier when you remember you get what you give, and that you are getting from and giving to. Giving from and giving to. Getting from, giving from, and giving to that same one infinite source, which is light. The light of compassion. Compassion being the all virtuous light, which then splits up into everything you see around you as the rainbow, the many different virtues. Therefore, honesty, kindness, patience, all those virtues become rivers to the ocean of compassion. All of those virtues become pathways back to God's light. It gives us a real and relatable and tangible way to journey to that place that really is heaven on earth, that really brings heaven to earth. So let's move from the 5 to the 6. Let's identify where we are thinking, speaking, and acting from pain with a smile on our faces, knowing that, oh yeah, none of that stuff was real anyway. And those right there, those places of pain are nothing to be ashamed of. We don't have to look away from it. For whatever reason, we've buried it, we haven't looked at it, but now we're willing to, because we have no shame, because we know that that's exactly where the gold is. That's exactly where the treasure is. In those places we haven't been wanting to look at, but now we're willing to, because we know it's not real, and we know that we need to look there in order to transform that pain into power and use it for the one. So let's go. See that little hoof? Let's go. Yeah, let's do this. If you want to share your process about this, if you want to share the realizations that you're having about this process and what your plan of action is as we move from this time of the full moon to the integration next week of the final quarter, please share that with us. We have a private group, the Archetypal Alliance. You can find it here on Facebook. Share this message in your own words, or share this video, whatever. Share this download, this activation with your family and friends. Know that right now we have this great opportunity and we need to maximize the potential for the exponential growth of the light that we are. So do it. And if you felt moved by this activation or previous activations, and you want more, you can join our private group, Shabbat Crew. It's also Shabbat tonight, so I share the videos that I've made on my own interpretation of the Torah stories, which is basically like the original OG tarot. It's super cool and totally different from this flow. So that's there if you want to jump in on that. We've been going with that for quite a few years now. It's pretty cool. And no, it's not just for Jewish people. It's for anyone who wants to anchor in the codes and use them for the benefit of the whole. And again, if you appreciated this activation, if it moved you in some way, please consider donating as a way to give back. My Venmo is Rebecca-Magic, magic with a CK. I've got other ways if you want to make a donation, just private message me. If you want to book a reading with me, I'm especially loving doing recorded readings right now. I'm mostly available for that right away. One-on-one live readings are quite hard to get me for these days. So if you want a reading now, I'm very available for recorded readings. private message me to ask me about my rates and booking a session. You can also email me info@royalpathtarot.com to get it going. If you are interested in my books and you want to learn more about going beyond the modern manipulations of tarot, going deeper, becoming more intuitive, integrating your archetypes so that you can be more of a cooperative piece in this circle of life, please reach out and ask me for my books so I can ship them to you. Thank you guys. Thank you guys. Happy full moon. I will see you next week for the final quarter integration. Shabbat shalom.